How disrespectful can those two traitors be? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did not, in fact, ask the late Queen for permission to use the name Lilibet, and reportedly she was outraged. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Of all the acts of betrayal that we have seen from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Hypocrisy, ever since they left the UK and headed to America to sell the royal family out for cash, I think for most people, the way they added so much stress to the lives of the late Queen and Prince Philip in their last months on Earth is absolutely the most disgusting. And look, we always had our suspicions about Harry and Meghan's story that they asked the late Queen for permission about using the name Lilibet. And now we're learning, thanks to a new book by Robert Hardman, that the whole situation is even more horrible than we thought. I still remember in 2021 when we heard the news that Harry and Meghan had decided to call their baby daughter Lilibet. People were surprised to say the least, because it was pretty well-known information that the name Lilibet was a private nickname for Queen Elizabeth, a nickname that was used by her husband Prince Philip and also her parents when she was a child. Reportedly, the nickname Lilibet came about because Queen Elizabeth, when she was a little girl, couldn't pronounce her own name correctly. Instead of saying Elizabeth, she referred to herself as Lilibet. It is a precious nickname, and it certainly was a nickname that very few people were even allowed to refer to her as. According to the Mail Online, it was only ever used by her parents, King George VI and the Queen Mother, her sister Princess Margaret, as well as her husband Prince Philip, and a handful of extremely close friends. And you'll remember that around the time we learned the news that Harry and Meghan had decided to use the name Lilibet, the BBC was also reporting that they had not asked the Queen for permission. And that was something that Harry and Meghan immediately hit back at. A spokesperson for the Sussexes insisted that they never would have used the name if the Queen had not been, quote, supportive. At the time, they said, quote, the Duke spoke with his family in advance of the announcement. In fact, his grandmother was the first family member he called. During that conversation, he shared their hope of naming their daughter Lilibet in her honor. Had she not been supportive, they would not have used the name. And then, typical Sussex fashion, they got their lawyers to send out some strongly worded legal letters. Alright, so then let's fast forward to January of 2023 when Spare is published. It contains a lot of private family information, some of it true, much of it absolutely not true. Harry recounts many perceived slights, but one thing that we don't get to hear Harry's side of the story about is Lilibet's naming. And according to Hardman, some of the late monarch's household were particularly interested that amidst a wealth of private family information and criticism of staff members, Harry mysteriously omitted the entire incident from his memoir Spare. Well, gee, I wonder why that could be. Could Harry have felt maybe, ashamed of his behavior? You see, I believe that this action of naming their invisible daughter Lilibet, I do believe that this was pushed more by Meghan than it was Harry. I mean, maybe I am giving him too much credit here, but Harry's somebody who has said time and time again that he deeply loved his late grandmother. I mean, he said that he was her favorite, which of course we never believed, but still, clearly he cherished their relationship. And I'm sure he knew this was going to bother her. He had to have known better. He was raised better than this. Even if he is an idiot who married a narcissist, he was raised better than this. And I do think there is one big difference between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I don't believe that Harry is a narcissist. He has a lot of problems, that's for sure. He has some severe PTSD he needs to take care of. He's got some anxiety issues. He's clearly got some paranoid delusions. But I just don't see the narcissism in him that I see in Meghan Markle. So I believe that unlike Meghan, Harry is capable of feeling shame. And he absolutely should feel ashamed of that. The absolute show of disrespect. I mean, it's appalling. And I don't care if it was Meghan's idea. Harry obviously went along with it. Robert Hardman spoke with many of the late Queen's staff, and he writes, one privately recalled that Elizabeth II had been as angry as I'd ever seen her in 2021 after the Sussexes announced that she had given them her blessing to call their baby daughter Lilibet, the Queen's childhood nickname. He goes on to say, the couple subsequently fired off warnings of legal action against anyone who dared to suggest otherwise, as the BBC had done. However, when the Sussexes tried to co-opt the palace into propping up their version of events, they were rebuffed. Once again, it was a case of recollections may vary. The late Queen's reaction to the Oprah Winfrey interview, as far as Her Majesty was concerned. Those noisy threats of legal action duly evaporated, and the libel actions against the BBC never materialized. I mean, there is no excuse for this. What could Harry's excuse possibly be? What, is he so stoned out of his mind that he doesn't even know who he's had conversations with or not? Did he take some magic mushrooms and hallucinate that the queen did give them her blessing when in fact she didn't know anything about it? And one of the saddest things is Harry and Meghan claim to have adored the late queen and always been supportive of her. They viciously attacked basically every member of Harry's family, but they always pretended like they were leaving the late queen alone. Well, clearly not. Clearly, they just had to stick it to her in some other way. One thing that we can say for sure those two have in common is certainly their sense of entitlement. I mean, they believe they walk on water. They can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter who tells them no, they're still going to do it. And that's a part of their personalities that I'm just not sure either of them could really change, even if they wanted to. I mean, I suspect Harry's always going to be entitled because, well, let's be honest here, he was born a prince. Now, obviously, not all princes are like that. Just look at William. William does not have the same disgustingly entitled attitude that his younger brother Harry does. But at the same time, I mean, by virtue of his birth, Harry is entitled to a whole lot of stuff the rest of us are never going to access. So, okay, whatever. But for Meghan Markle, it's a little different. I mean, she was born into an upper middle class household in California. She's no princess. For her, no, it comes from the narcissism. It comes from this overinflated ego. It comes from this idea that she really is so amazing that she deserves whatever it is that she wants, whenever she wants it. It's a really disgusting attitude, but it is an attitude that her parents instilled in her, I hate to say. I mean, I think Thomas Markle did it unintentionally by doing everything he could to prove to her that she was his little princess and he was going to give her the world. And then her mother, Doria, I think, has been a grifter from the very beginning and just raised Meghan to be the same. It is funny to think about all these predictions that we have seen, that 2024 is going to be Harry and Meghan's year of redemption. I do wonder when we're going to start seeing that happen. I mean, just think about it. First, we had the Golden Globes, where they were absolutely lampooned. And now we've got this book. It's not looking good for Harry and Meghan. But personally, I'm glad to see that some misinformation from the past is being cleared up. I mean, it's disgusting how much those two have gotten away with, and I'm so glad that more and more people are calling them out. 2024 is going to be an interesting year for Harry and Meghan indeed, but I don't think it's going to be a positive one. And you, what do you think of the news that Harry and Meghan, in fact, did not ask the late Queen for permission to name their daughter Lilibet? Are you surprised to hear this, or did you suspect this the entire time? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.